All right. Well, good morning once again to everyone who's been logged in over the past few minutes. And welcome to those of you who've logged in over the past 4 or 5 minutes or so. My name is Greg Dushinsky. I'm your Customer Success Manager with ShowingTime. I'll be hosting this morning's training session for agents within Home Life Landmark Realty, your ShowingTime Appointment Center. And we're going to look specifically at the listing settings, entering instructions upon, or I should say entering showing instructions upon your listings within the Appointment Center. And we'll take a look at the agent profile settings as well. One thing that I've mentioned over the past few moments, or I should say a few moments ago, is that everyone will be in a listen-only mode throughout the course of today's training. And that's really just to minimize background noise for a recording that's being made of today's information. If you do happen to have questions, please feel free to make use of the questions box available to you on the GoToWebinar control panel on your screen. And one of my colleagues who's logged in today will be monitoring those questions, and I'll be staying on the line after today's information to make sure any questions that are out there get answered. So with that, we'll jump right in. Once again, just wanted to say welcome formally to the training this morning for ShowingTime Appointment Center. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your morning to join me for this session. I highly appreciate that. So with that, we're going to jump right in and get started. Bear with me as I get my screens all in order, and wanted to really start today's session off just by jumping into my demo account to show you what's available to you and customizing your showing instructions. Now here we have the login page at showingtime.com. So everyone is aware, the Home Life Landmark Realty Appointment Center is scheduled to launch tomorrow, Tuesday the 19th. Our team in the Appointment Center is actually going through the process as we speak of transferring your showing instructions from Lone Wolf into ShowingTime. So when you do log in, instructions for your current listings will be available to you. We do always recommend that you check into them just to verify that everything is in place as desired. But we definitely wanted to go through this training webinar to make sure you're aware of how to make these changes in the future. So tomorrow, everyone's going to receive a welcome email from ShowingTime that contains a link to showingtime.com, your system-generated username, a link to create a password. And once you have that information in hand, you can simply navigate to showingtime.com, click on the login button that we see up towards the top of the screen here. And once your information is loaded up in the username and password areas, you can simply click the login button to access your homepage within ShowingTime. Now, I'll describe what this page is displaying to us here in just one moment, but I always make the recommendation that when you first gain access to ShowingTime, the first task that you have, or the first action that you take, is to access your profile. I recommend doing that so you can ensure that the most current and best contact information for you is on file with your ShowingTime profile. And so you can put some default preferences in place on yourself as an agent to make using ShowingTime a little bit more efficient down the road. Now, you can access your profile simply on the navigation bar on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll scroll down and see your name. And simply click on that, and it'll take you to your profile. You can also select the Edit Profile button that we see towards the top of the page here in blue. Once you select either of those options, it brings you into your profile editing page that we see here, and I'll break down some of the most important points. Now, the first section that we see here is the profile basics, and here's where all of your contact information is housed. You do have space for up to 3 different phone numbers for contact, and we recommend placing the best contact number at the top of the list, as our appointment specialist will try reaching out to you from the top of that list down. If you do plan on sending and receiving text notifications through ShowingTime, you'll want to ensure that the appropriate number is highlighted as a mobile phone. Bear with me for just one moment, folks, as I'm getting a message from my colleague who is logged into today's session. Bear with me for just one moment. All right, thank you everyone for your patience. As I was just answering a quick question there for one of my colleagues. I was mentioning the mobile phone. If you do plan on sending and receiving text notifications through Showing Time, just make sure that the appropriate number is highlighted as a mobile from the phone type dropdown. And once you do select that, right below you'll see that same number appearing in this text message dropdown lower in the Profile Basics section. As I scroll down the page just a touch here, we have the login information, and everyone does have access to their username and password, so you can make changes to this at any time. One thing to note as well is there's a small table here that states My Linked Profiles. And so everyone is aware, Treb does send Showing Time 2 profiles for every agent, basically a Showing Time, or a show side and a list side. We go through the process of linking those profiles up in the back end of Showing Time. So you'll see 2 profiles for your name here, and you want to make sure that those do stay as linked profiles within your account. Scrolling down just a touch here, we have the listing agent showing preferences. And this is a large section with some checkboxes and radio buttons. And really, this is simply a section where you as an agent can come in and mark how you'd like to be contacted in terms of confirmations and cancellations upon your listings. One very important thing to note is that when you do make any changes or adjustments to these default preferences, or really any of the default preferences on your profile, those changes will take effect on any listing that comes in after the fact, as making changes to your default preferences does not go back and retroactively update those listings which already exist in your appointment center. Scrolling down just a little bit, we come to our buyer agent showing preferences. This is a very similar section with a number of checkboxes and radio buttons once again, where you can come in and mark how you'd like to be receiving confirmations and cancellations for appointments. Now, this area is actually specific to you as the showing agent. So really think of this as the area where you can enter in defaults about how you'd like to be receiving those communications when making the appointment requests on the listings of other agents. Let's scroll down the page just a touch. We come to the final sections to illustrate this morning on the profile. And the first of those are the additional preferences. Now, this area is very important because it's specific to how you will be receiving not only in-app agent-to-agent messaging, but also any office broadcasts or pages that are sent to you from our appointment center staff. So this first line here, which states messages and new message notification, these settings are specific to how you can receive agent-to-agent in-app messages. Think of this almost as a texting or an IM directly within Showing Time. Now, of course, you'll have access to those messages within your Showing Time mobile app and the desktop, but you can select to receive those through email, text message, or a push notification as well. Now, right below that, we have the line that states MLS and Office broadcasts with this line labeled New Broadcast Notification. And this line is specific to how you can be receiving not only Office broadcasts that are sent to you from the brokerage, but these are also the settings that mark how you'll be receiving any pages that are sent to you from our appointment center staff. Once again, you'll have access to these within your Showing Time mobile app, but you can receive them once again through email, text message, or push notification. Now, next on down is the assisting agent. This is really a functionality. Oh, one quick question that came in that I think is good for everyone's benefit is that, excuse me as I scroll up just a touch, what's the difference between a text message and a push notification? Really, the main difference between the two is how it shows up and what it's linked to. So think of a push message and a text, or a push notification, excuse me, and a text message as being relatively the same thing. However, a push notification, think of it more so as a text message being sent to you from the mobile app. It'll show up on your home screen just like a weather update if you ever receive those. And if you swipe on the push notification, it'll open up the mobile app and redirect you to the mobile app within your phone so you can take further action and see further information about that specific notification. And thank you for that question, by the way. I was jumping into the assisting agent. And this next section that we have down here is a functionality designed for any agent to mark one of their colleagues as their assisting agent. Say you're going on holiday for the weekend and one of your colleagues will be overseeing all of the activities on your listings. You can simply come in to click Add Agent, search for their name, and highlight them as your assisting agent for a particular time frame or open-ended periods of time. And what that does is makes your colleague that you've added as the assisting agent the co-listing agent upon every one of your listings within your entire inventory. So think of it as a way to mark a co-listing agent on every listing that you currently have in ShowingTime. Now, additionally, so you're aware, when you have someone marked as your assisting agent, they will be CC'd on any page that is sent to you from our appointment staff as well. And then finally, we have the mobile app access. And we make the recommendation that every agent takes advantage of ShowingTime's mobile app. And to make this easy to download, we have this section here. Simply fill in your email address, click that send button, and you'll receive a link with instructions and information on how to download ShowingTime's mobile app. Now, as agents, you can download the app as many times to as many devices as you would like free of charge. And you can locate ShowingTime's mobile app within the App Store or within Google Play. Now, from the navigation bar as well, I'm going to jump back into my home screen to start our way into our inventory and entering instructions. But so you're aware, when you log in, you'll see this homepage, which is going to break down really a higher level, or I should say a set of higher level information about the activities you're involved with in ShowingTime. All of the numbers you see in yellow and green are links to collections of that respective information, so you can click on any of those numbers to see that info you're looking for. You can access any in-app messages through this section up top where the mailbox icon is. You have two tables in the center of the screen. Left-hand side displaying information to you about showings you have requested, and access to the Schedule a Showing button to start an online request. And then on the right-hand side, you have information displaying about appointments that have been requested on your listings. You can also access feedback information on the bottom left, and you also have this listing notices section where we see this house icon. And I'm a big fan of this section simply because you have the ability to access certain subsets of your inventory. Now, by clicking on any of these numbers, I could click on the 3 to see just my pending listings, click on the 17 to see just my actives. And I always draw attention to the top row here, which states listings need complete showing instructions. Simply because this number you see on this row is going to be a count of any listing that's posted into the board, is imported into ShowingTime, and does not have complete showing instructions upon it. Now, we recommend keeping that number as close to 0 as possible, just because the more listings you have with complete showing instructions, the better we can handle all of your appointment requests. Now, whereas you can access certain subsets of your inventory through this listing notices section, you can also access the listings button within the navigation bar. That's going to redirect you to a view of your entire inventory, and almost a spreadsheet view. Now, you have a search bar up top where you can look for a particular listing by its address or its ID from the board. You also have an advanced search link where you can open up further filtering options to look for a set of listings that may be in a particular subdivision or tied to an owner name or investor name. But whenever you have a listing that comes in new, you just want to access your inventory, locate that particular listing within your inventory. As I'm searching for a specific one, there we go. And once you click on it, really every row within this table is a link to the listing worksheet, or the instructions page, as we call it within ShowingTime. So once you've located the listing, simply click on it, and we have our page where we can customize all of the showing instructions within ShowingTime. Now, this is the page that you'll want to address whenever you have a listing that comes in new, whether it's to set up the instructions and customize them, or confirm that the defaults from your profile are the ones you'll be using moving forward, or to actively turn it off. So the best way to address this page is simply from top to bottom, as some of your most important settings for service are at the top of the screen. Now, once again, so everyone is aware, our team within the Appointment Center is going through the process of transferring your instructions from Lone Wolf into ShowingTime. So tomorrow, when you do gain access to your Appointment Center, your instructions for current listings will be there, but I do always recommend checking into the listing worksheet just to confirm everything is in place and get familiar with this page. Now, the first setting that you'll see up top is the Allow Appointment Center to take appointments. And this button will be set to yes when your listings are new, just meaning that this is a listing that you'd like ShowingTime to handle live interactions on. That includes inbound calls from agents requesting appointments, possibly outbound calls to your clients, as well as support for instructions and listings review from our team. Now, if there's any reason you don't need that live interaction upon the listing, simply switch the button to no. And it lets our appointment center staff know that we don't need to be staffed up in order to handle these live interactions on your calls, or on your listing, I should say. Now, just to the right of that, you have a setting called Allow Showing Agents to Request Appointments Online. And this setting is fully independent from the one on the left. It will come in set to yes when your listing is new, once again, just meaning that other agents will have the ability to make an online appointment request for this property. And that's done through the Schedule a Showing button, whether on the listing itself in Treb or from the homepage of the mobile app or the homepage of the desktop. Once again, if you prefer agents do not have that ability, simply switch the button to no. And if anyone happens to click on the Schedule a Showing button for this property, they'll see a pop-up that lets them know the listing is not available for online requests and will refer them back to the scheduling instructions within the listing in the board. I'm going to scroll down just a touch, and we're going to see a large drop-down open up here in just a moment that's labeled Appointment Type. And the appointment type is rather important upon your listings because it tells us at ShowingTime what steps you need to, or what steps need to occur, in order to have a confirmed appointment on this listing. Now, the first option is probably the most frequently used, and it's the appointment required confirm with any. And simply all this means is that we need someone's permission to have a confirmed appointment. Now, you can have as many contacts on the listing as you'd like, and as many contacts can be designated, meaning that they can confirm appointments. And as soon as the first one of your designated contacts confirms an appointment request, then you have a confirmed appointment. Now, right below that, we've got appointment required confirm with all, which works in a very similar manner. Once again, you need to have permission for a confirmed appointment. You can have as many contacts on the listing as you'd like, and as many of them can be designated, once again, meaning they have the ability to confirm. But the difference here is that each and every one of your designated contacts, be they owners, tenants, listing, or co-listing agents, will all need to confirm the appointment request in turn before you have a confirmed appointment. Courtesy call is something that is designed for homes with occupants, or for occupants that have very flexible schedules, where you don't necessarily need their permission to have a confirmed appointment, but you want them to receive a phone call as a means of notification. Now, what occurs within this type is that any appointment requests are documented within ShowingTime and then automatically and immediately confirmed. Then a phone call is placed to any of your designated contacts who've been marked to receive a phone call, letting them know about that current confirmation. Now, Go and Show works exactly, I should say almost exactly like Courtesy Call, where the appointment requests are once again documented and then automatically and immediately confirmed. But the difference is that Go and Show is designed for homes that are vacant and on lockbox. So whereas you and your clients can receive notification through text or email, there's not the additional option for a phone call as a means of notification. Then right below that, we have Refer to Listing Agent, something that's a little bit more rarely used, but it's there for those situations when you have very complex showing instructions and it's more efficient for you as the agent to handle appointments directly. But you still want that ShowingTime documentation and you still want your feedback requests to be sent out. So in this scenario, our appointment center staff will log any details of the call, inform the caller that you as the agent are handling appointments directly, and they'll first try and warm transfer the caller over to you as the agent. And in the event that that cannot happen, they'll pass off any contact details the agent might need to reach out to you at a later date. So for this example, I'll leave it with confirm with any. And you have some further general settings here. Are you requesting feedback? Is it an occupied property? And if you are requesting feedback, you have this drop down just to the right labeled feedback template, where you can scroll through the list and associate any customized feedback template to this listing for showings. Bear with me 1 second. I was just opening up the questions box, and there are a couple that just came through that I wanted to address out loud. And the first one, that is there a seminar to help us tomorrow to go through the transition process from Lone Wolf to Showing Time? Really, this is one of the seminars to do just that. We're hosting a number of webinars this week. This one's specific to entering showing instructions. There are a couple ongoing over the graphical reporting tools and customizing feedback. We have some directly on the mobile app, as well as the offer registration feature. Definitely do note that you can always reach out to our support team or to the appointment center directly with questions to assist in the process. But our team in the appointment center is transferring your instructions that exist in Lone Wolf over into Showing Time so that they will be waiting for you when you gain access tomorrow. Let's scroll down the list just a touch. We come to our contact section. And you'll see my information as the listing agent has populated automatically, and that'll happen on your listings simply because your listings cannot exist without you, the listing agent. Now on the left-hand side, we have contact information displaying. And then in the center, you have this column, Can Confirm Appointments By. And here's where you can make contacts designated or not, simply by giving them the ability to confirm through highlighting the radio button next to Confirm Appointments. Now, if you've done so, you'll want to come down right below it and mark how can they confirm. Can they do that through a text, through an email, a push notification, a phone call, or any combination of those four? Now, if they are not confirming appointments, they can be sent an FYI, really a notification, not asking for their permission, but letting them know an appointment has been requested on a date at a time. And that can be received through text, email, or push notification. And you can always highlight an individual to be sent nothing from your requests as well. Then to the right, you have how this person will receive their other notifications through Showing Time. And they can receive those through text, through email, push notification, or instant auto call. Now, as I had mentioned briefly on the profile section, you have the assisting agent functionality available to you. And that gives you the chance to add a colleague as the co-listing agent across your entire inventory of listings. But through this Add New Co-Listing Agent button, you have the ability to add a co-listing agent on a listing basis, so you can do it one by one. Simply click on that button and search for the individual by name within your office. You'll highlight their row as an agent, and their contact information and their default preferences will pull into the contacts table as well. Through the Add Owner Occupant button here on the right, you also have the ability to add your clients as contacts into Showing Time, so that they can be receiving notifications directly through Showing Time, and so that they can be confirming or declining appointments directly where they have those permissions. Simply click on Add Owner Occupant, and you'll see this pop up here where you're first prompted to add an existing contact, as your seller information is tracked within Showing Time and your buyer information is optionally tracked. And that information is private to you. So if you've worked with somebody for more than the first time, you can enter in their name, simply click on their row, and their contact information pulls into the table, so you're not entering their phone number and email address every time you work with them. Otherwise, you can change the tab to Add New and start entering in all of their information. First name, last name, mark if they're an owner and or an occupant. It's always important to mark actual owners in the role of the owner, as it is only homeowners who are allowed to see feedback once it's been published to them. You have 3 spaces for phone numbers, just like the agent the profile itself that we looked at earlier. Once again, if you'd like your client to be sending and receiving text notifications through Showing Time, ensure that the number is marked as a mobile. You can then enter their phone number, and then there's a place for an email address down below. And I always recommend placing an email address on file for your clients, and that's not just so they can be receiving email notifications, but so they can also have access to My Home, the client experience of Showing Time. Now, so you're aware of how this works, when you save a client's information on file within Showing Time, which includes an email address, once you click that Save button, an email generates and sends to their address with a link and instructions on how to download Showing Time's mobile app. Now, we always recommend passing off that access to Showing Time's mobile app for the client where possible, because then your clients have a portal where they can log into Showing Time to update their contact information, to change their preferred means of contact, or confirm appointments where they have those permissions. Homeowners can view feedback once it's been published to them. Their clients can see details about appointments they're involved with. But very importantly, what your clients cannot do is they cannot change the instructions upon their listing, and they cannot view any of your other listings within ShowingTime unless they are directly associated with them as contacts. So once I click that save button, that email will generate and send out to my client. I just want to make sure to update how they're confirming and how they're getting notifications. We'll have them confirming by at least 2 means, getting their notifications by at least 2 means. And then myself as a listing agent, I'll be sent a text and an email as an FYI, and also once appointments are confirmed or declined. Now, when you're getting used to entering in all of your instructions, I very strongly make the recommendation that you use the How Will This Work button. It's down on the bottom left of the Contacts section. When you click on it, you're just going to see a pop-up which gives you a breakdown of all of your notifications. Who's going to be contacted, how are they going to be contacted, and in what order. So you can always verify how this information is going to play out in the event of an actual request. Now, scrolling on down the page, we do have the appointment restrictions section. We've got 2 radio buttons here, 2 sets of radio buttons rather, that are marked Allow Inspections and Walkthroughs and Allow Appraisals. And these buttons will be set to yes when your listings are new, just meaning that these types of appointments can be handled through ShowingTime. And if you prefer that only showings can occur through ShowingTime and you handle these types of appointments yourself, simply switch the buttons to no, and then only directly showings proper can be handled through ShowingTime. Now, right below that, you have a place to enter in advance notice, marking whether or not same calendar day appointments can occur, or whether or not you'll be using a specific lead time. If you are using that lead time, you have your choice between a required number, which is a hard number and will effectively block anyone out from making an appointment request within that time frame, as well as a suggested lead, which is more of a soft number. System will respect what you put in place, but any appointment request made underneath the suggested time will still be processed, so there's never the chance of a missed appointment. Now, right below that, you can enter a maximum appointment length if you'd like, and mark whether or not you'll be allowing for overlapping appointments. You do have 2 showing rules that are available to you, and I'll address those in just one moment after describing the access information down below. As it's through this drop-down in the next section where you can mark how the showing agent is going to get into the home itself. Is the home on a combo box or a Sentry Lock or a super box, or might they be getting access through the listing or the co-listing agent? Now, any specific area that you highlight will give further areas to enter in extra information about that appointment type, and you can enter that information so it's provided to the buyer agent. If there's a set of keys, such as courtesy keys that need to be picked up at an office location, you can change the button to yes and enter in a description of the key set, simply meaning what lock does that key give access to. And you also have an area for alarm details, so you can enter the disarming or arming, possibly a verbal passcode, and any alarm notes that the agent might need to know about. And I always like to make the point that within ShowingTime and appointments, we do provide the buyer agent with access details to the home, but not until the appointment is confirmed, simply because we don't want to be passing off access details to someone until they have permission to enter the home. Now, as for your showing rules, you do have 2 of them available to you. The first one is a showing restriction, something that you want to put in place if you ever want to block off specific dates and times for showings on the listings or on the listing. You can simply type in your rule, say this one's not available. Maybe we have painters coming through the home and we don't want showings going on while they're there. Once you have your rule in place, you can mark the times where this is going to occur. Now, if this was an all-day rule, you can highlight the radio button and block out every hour slot within a date, or you can make it a timed rule and simply block out the hours, say from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And just so you're aware, these times, they do show hours from 5 a.m. forward, but our system automatically blocks out showings before 8 a.m. and after 9 p.m. So once your hours are in place, you can pick the dates where this is going to occur. Maybe it's one date, and you can just choose from the calendar that's provided to you. But if we want to block off these 3 hours on a number of different days, we want to mark this a repeating rule and enter in a beginning and an end date of a date range. Say our painters are coming in on Wednesday and they'll be back doing touch-up work until Friday. We'll highlight the checkboxes here for the calendar days, and once we save our rule, we have all of that information in place in the table for our reference. The other rule that's available to us is a showing exception. We get to it through the same button, just adjusting the dropdown from restriction to exception. And the great thing about this is that a showing exception is a way for you to temporarily change the confirmation process in place on the listing. So we can say that the family who lives in the home is headed out on vacation. We've had their appointment type set to confirm with any. But while the family is on vacation, they don't want to be confirming appointments. And since the home's technically vacant, we could make it a go and show just for the dates and times while they're out of town. Once again, we'll pick our times. We'll make this an all-day rule and pick our dates. We'll make this a repeating once again and say for that last week of the month. Oh, bear with me for 1 second. There we go. That last week of the month, the family's headed out on vacation. We can mark all the calendar dates before we update our contacts list. As note down below, we don't have any contacts marked here. And the best way to think about an exception is that it's a secondary listing worksheet for this property that is in place only for the dates and times that you specify. And we want to make sure that someone is getting contacted during this time frame. So myself, as a listing agent, I'll be given a text and an email for confirmations and cancellations. Since we made it a go and show, we can take our lead times down to 0 just for this 1 week and say, hey, it's going to be on a combo box just for this 1 week. Enter in the combination information, its location. We save our rule so that we can view it within this table once again for our reference. Now, it's really at this point your instructions are complete. But down at the bottom of the list, or down at the bottom of the page, excuse me, you have space for additional instructions either for our appointment staff in the appointment center, which are internal and will not be seen by the showing agent. And you can also add notes for the showing agent so that they receive these along with their confirmation. You can type in custom notes. You can choose from a set of predefined notes behind this button. Say there's no sign on the property and don't adjust the thermostat. Those pull right into the form field. And you also have a button so you can make any of those notes temporary so that they expire on a specific date. And then finally, you have a place for driving directions down below. If there are driving directions up within the board, you'll want to make sure, or I should say that they will import to showing time. But if there's ever the need to make any changes or adjustments, you have space for that down below. Now, one other thing, so you're aware as I scroll up to the top of the page, one thing I always recommend agents do is that when you know that your listings are sold and they don't require any service any longer within showing time, no more showings, inspections, walkthroughs, buyer revisits, anything like that, it's always important that you want to go in and make sure those listings are archived. Because what that does is simply turn the listing off from all aspects. No over-the-phone requests, no online appointment requests. And once you archive your listings, it's not going to be displayed within your active inventory. You don't lose that information as it's simply put into storage. Think of it as you took that file for the listing and put it in the filing cabinet at the back of the office. It can always be retrieved if need be, but you don't lose that information forever. It's simply out of your way in your day-to-day activities. So I'm going to take just a moment before I conclude to check into the questions box to see if there are any questions at the moment. That'll be to the benefit of everyone for addressing out loud. If you do happen to have any questions, feel free to type those into the questions box now. All right, we're going in and diligently answering those questions that are coming through. The question about, once again, what is the difference between push text or push notification and text messages? Once again, I always like to explain that text messages and push notifications are very similar. A text message is a notification that'll be sent to you from ShowingTime. It'll show up like a text message that you receive from anywhere else. It'll have a link within it where you can access further information about the appointment request. And the push notification, the best way to think about it is that a push notification is best described as a text message that's sent to you from ShowingTime's mobile app. It'll show up on the home screen of your phone or your tablet, just like a weather update. If you ever receive those, if there's a big storm coming through and there's an update that comes out about weather, those often show up as push notifications. And what's great about push notifications is that when you swipe on it, what it's going to do is redirect you into ShowingTime's mobile app. So you'll have access to your inventory. You can see further information. You can take further actions directly from the mobile app right through that notification as well. And thank you for that question, by the way. There was a question that I believe came through about a training for the mobile app. One thing to note, so everyone's aware, there are further trainings about specific topics in ShowingTime coming up this week. Later this afternoon, there'll be a training specifically on the reporting tools and the customizable feedback. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at offer registration, how offers can be registered, and how updates can be sent out to all agents who need to have updated information. Wednesday, we'll be looking at the mobile app very specifically in the morning. We'll be looking at offer registration in the afternoon with another repeat of this exact same training on Thursday afternoon as well. There was a question that came up of, do I need to change from the MLS system or just change from the app? One thing, so everybody's aware, we do receive a data feed from Treb about your listings. So when you have new listings, they're going to appear within ShowingTime through that data sync within about 30 minutes or so. So after you've posted a new listing on Treb, within about a 30-minute time frame, you'll have access to it within ShowingTime, so you can enter in your showing instructions for the listing. A question that came through about the push notifications once again was that after I read it, does that push notification disappear and I will not be able to find it for later? The text will always be there for me to look at later. You are correct in the fact that your text messages will remain within the threads for texting within your phone unless you delete them, of course. The push notification will really be an alert that shows up on the home screen of your phone, but you'll have those notifications available to you within your notification center within ShowingTime's mobile app, which once again, we're having another training on that Wednesday morning. So think of it, in the mobile app, you have a notification center, a place where all your notifications are held onto. You'll have access to the notification that was sent to you within that notification center, unless, of course, it is deleted by the user. There's a question that had come through about how to send the offer date change to all showing agents. I was going to navigate away from this page just to show that very quickly. Do please note, if you're interested in offer registration, we have a webinar specific to offer registration tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., which will cover all of this information in detail. But you have an offer section in the navigation bar on the left-hand side, which you can click into. It gives you access to all of your listings and any registrations that have been made on them. And to send an offer update to anyone about changed information, you can simply click on the icon for sending an email to agents. This will give you an email template within your offer registration where you can simply highlight who you'd like to have this sent to. We'll say we're going to send it to the agents who registered offers and agents that scheduled a showing. You can decide which information you're going to be included, and this is information that's on file within the offer registration of ShowingTime. Once again, we'll go through this in detail tomorrow in the morning. You can customize the subject line. You can customize the body of the message. Let them know what you want to send. You can simply click that or send that email out with a click of the send button. And you'll also have a detailed log that's available to you within offer registration of Showing Time. Now, that is everything that I do have prepared for the morning. I wanted to thank everyone once again for taking the time to join me for today's training. I do highly appreciate your time. I hope this was beneficial for you and we were able to answer some questions. I am going to stay on the line for a while longer to monitor the attendee list and answer any further questions that are out there. If you do have questions, please feel free to enter them now. We're more than happy to answer those questions here this morning. Otherwise, if you're all set, feel free to exit whenever you're ready. You'll be receiving your welcome email for Showing Time tomorrow. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.